Hello, Contrarians listeners. Here we are, reaching you from the United States of Dystopia, formerly known as the United States of America, a land where masked men have been empowered by the government to harass, kidnap, and exile immigrants, regardless of their immigration status. A land where the people in power encourage hatred and cruelty toward minorities. A land where a normal person, a person with empathy, a person with basic human decency, can feel overwhelmed by all the bullshit the current administration keeps throwing at us.
So that's why we're here. That's what we're doing with these special episodes. We're here to tell you, no, you're not crazy. It really is that bad. And also to tell you, you're not alone. We're here with you. And maybe, hopefully, make you feel a little better by talking about good movies that are relevant to this nightmare we're living through.
So welcome to Fresh Immigrants, Rotten Fascists, a new Contrarian series. Today, we're going to be talking about The Namesake. Hello and welcome to the 10th installment of Fresh Immigrants, Rotten Fascists. This time we are covering a filmmaker that I don't think either of us was familiar with. Alex, maybe you'll surprise me in a minute. In a movie that stars an actor that I don't think we've covered before on the show, as the main character at least. And then some familiar faces. We're talking, of course, about The Namesake, which stands at a somewhat towering, fresh, certified fresh, 85% on the tomato meter. Alex, the popcorn meter, also fresh, hot, as they say, 79%. This is a book adaptation. It's directed by Mira Nair, which I had heard of the name before, but the most mind-blowing fact about her I found out as I was closing my research before this recording, and I wonder if you're aware of it. But we'll get into it in a minute. This is a Kal Penn movie. He of Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle and
The
sequels.
Obama administration fame?
Yes, yeah. I had forgotten about that until at some point I'm like, what happened to Kal Penn? And that led me through the rabbit hole of just finding out what happened to him. And yeah, then I remembered that he dabbled in politics, but he's no longer a political figure, right? I mean, I know, obviously, assuming he's a Democrat, he has nothing to do with the White House. But even so, like, I haven't seen him in the news in a long time.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of. I just remember that was the whole thing when he was part of the Obama party. Like, he was in the White House. I'm like, that's fucking Kumar. The fuck?
Nobody went, let's Google.
Yeah, shamefully. Which, let's get this out of the way. This was after the first Harold and Kumar movie.
This was his attempt at being a serious actor. His first attempt. I mean, obviously, at some point he transitioned. We know him as Kumar maybe because Harold and Kumar came out during very formative years, maybe, as movie lovers.
Real quick, just to close the loop. In 2013, Obama appointed Penn to serve on the Presidential Committee of Arts and Humanities. On February 28th of 2014, Penn served as the Master of Ceremonies at the White House Student Film Festival. So things that are like within reason. Kid Rock wasn't addressing the military.
It wouldn't have been Kid Rock, though. If Obama had decided to do something insane like that, it would have been a different musician, right? It would have been who? Springsteen?
No, I don't think that would have happened because it just would have been silly.
I know, but if Obama was losing his mind,
I see.
He wouldn't go to Kid Rock.
Paul McCartney bringing a foreigner to do it or some shit. Yeah.
Willie Nelson.
Yeah. Well, then Willie would just be like, yeah, everyone chill out. I'm just trying to think of like what would make people the most angry. 2017, he resigned from that committee of Arts and Humanities in protest of Donald Trump's remarks about the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Look at that.
Doesn't that seem like it was fucking 900 years ago, like with everything that's happened? But anyway, yes.
Yeah.
Kal Penn aligns with myself and Julio. I'm sure if he was on this, we would have a lot of things to joke and cajole and agree about.
Yes, he would be, as we are, on the right side of history.
Correct.
This movie, probably the same. This is not a racist movie. This is not a fascist movie.
No.
So It is a movie about a family of immigrants. It's very different, I think, from the immigrant families that we've met so far in our FIRF journey. And we'll delve into that as we go on. But Alex, what did you know about The Namesake before watching it today?
Nothing. I did like my cursory Google search on the movie. And I think that I did that when you said we were doing this. And I was like, hey, Kal Penn's in it. And then I did another one today before I watched it just to see where I could find it, which is on Amazon Prime, by the way. I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score, and that's about the extent to which I looked at it. And then it started, and I was like, hey, Charlie Parker.
Where's Kal Penn? Yes. What's his name? Aris?
Irrfan Khan.
Irrfan Khan. Yes. So you think Life of Pi when you see him. I think probably because of recency bias.
I've seen him in a lot of things, to be fair, but
is that where you go to? Because we saw him in together. We saw him in Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah, Slumdog's a good one too. But I see him with kind of the shaggy hair telling the story of Life of Pi, because I think, not to say you're like a hater of that movie, but I think I enjoy that movie. Or it did a lot more for me than it did for you. I think.
You're correct.
Yeah.
You're correct. Maybe one day I'll revisit it because so many people love that movie that it feels weird that I don't. I couldn't even tell you why I didn't go for it. So that people are not left hanging. When I think of Mr. Khan, I think of his role in the first Jurassic World movie. So the first of the Chris Pratt movies. Do you remember him? Because you've seen that one. You own that one.
I do. I don't remember him. I watched that one time and I was like, wow, that was not terrible. No, I remember Omar Sy, but I don't remember him.
He is the owner, or at least the man with the money behind the park. And he's actually kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, he is in the first Andrew Garfield Spider-Man also.
Yeah, that's not a good movie, though.
Oh, it's better than the second Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
He got out before he got terrible. Yeah, so I mean, so he's a well-known actor.
Yes.
Did you recognize his wife in the movie, Kal Penn's mother?
Brother, I was like, okay, who the fuck is that? Like, I was just like, I've seen this woman in something before, and it was driving me nuts. And so I had to, because usually with those things, I can wait long enough, and then my brain, like my schema will open up and then be like, bzz, and zoom in on it. And I'll be able to figure it out. But I had to look it up. But she's Adhan Hoon.
Yes,
Yeah.
the villain, one of the villains in Adhan Hoon, the femme fatale.
Tabu. Unbelievably, like distractingly beautiful. Even as much as they try to make her look old in this movie, she's just still like, and she's also in Life of Pi.
Oh, that I didn't remember.
Yeah.
Does she have a big part? Is she the mom?
I don't remember, but I can picture her in it. Like I can picture watching that movie and she's in it. But yeah, Adhan Hoon was the big one. I was like, all right, we're back in business now.
You know, by the time I was your age, I had already celebrated my 10th wedding anniversary.
This is America, Ma. People have twins when they're 60.
Oh, Gogol, very funny.
Before we get to the synopsis, so you can tell people that haven't seen the movie what the movie's about, and they can decide if they want to stop and watch it if they haven't already, just to set the stage. Because I think that with these episodes where we touch on very present day situations as it relates specifically to the United States and I guess the world in a way, I always want to record exactly when we are. This is April 28th, the night of April 28th, which means that over the weekend, we had the most recent. How insane is it that now we get to say stuff like this, Alex, as if like, well, this is just the everyday. The most recent almost shooting of the president of the United States. And I know that they happen in every administration, but I think this is the first time in the, more than 20 years I've been living here in this country, that I think that same night, if not the next morning, there was a quote from somebody saying that it was awesome being there. And I'm referring to Dana White.
It was Dana White, yeah. I was actually talking to my dad earlier. It's like pretty weird. We live in a time where there was an alleged assassination attempt on the president, the overwhelming majority of people said that was fake.
Yeah, I mean that's almost not that surprising because it already happened like the previous time, where maybe not as many people this time, but there was already kind of a feeling of come on, man,
Yeah.
and it's his own fault. Like obviously, I don't wish anybody to get assassinated, but when you spew as much bullshit as our president and the people around him do, then you just basically lose everybody's trust.
Well, and the thing too is when you say everything you don't like is a lie and made up, then
Yeah.
like that gives everyone that opposes you the right to say everything you say is a lie and made up. In this case, the other side of that argument is correct because everything you do say is a lie and made up. But
Yeah. I read this article. It's like a column, like an opinion column, and I had to click on it because it's something like, oh god, it was some sort of poetic title and it used Cheryl Hines' name on it. So I'm like,
Oh,
what the fuck
boy.
is this about? And I'm sure you've seen it. If you're online, you've seen it. It's Cheryl Hines. Okay, this Grace actor Cheryl Hines. We used to like her.
Deserves everything she's getting right now.
Yes. She's married to Kennedy Jr., who's running the U.S. health into the ground, underground, whatever. He's a terrible...
I can't even breathe
exactly.
like him. Yeah, I can't even do it.
It's an incredibly unhealthy person that is running the U.S. health department.
I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off, but did you see that Onion headline it said, swollen RFK vowing Americans not eating enough bees?
Yes. Anyway, he was at the what was it, the journalist gala, whatever, where the assassination attempt almost took place, showing the chaos that follows the shootings and all that stuff. The reaction from the crowd goes from like the people that took it in stride and didn't even move, they kept eating, the people that rushed to grab like bottles of wine and champagne, whatever, just whatever they could get for free before they left, the people that were being ushered out by the Secret Service. Anyway, one of the people being ushered out was Kennedy Jr., and the Secret Service was taking care of him, but they left Cheryl Hines behind.
Yeah.
And so the video is Kennedy being ushered by the Secret Service, and then Cheryl Hines kind of like struggling to keep up behind them. And they've shown it in slow motion and whatever. Anyway, the gist of this column was that the spectacle of being in that ballroom or whatever it was, while all these things were happening, was just basically what it's like. It was such an encapsulation of America right now. Is it a real shooting? Is it a fake shooting? Who's shooting? What's the reason? Nobody knows. And nobody knows how to act. And everybody's confused. And Cheryl Hines is at the center of it. This Grace being mocked, being pitied. It's a mess. And I'm like, you know what? They're not wrong. This might be, I don't know. I don't know what it was like in previous assassination attempts of U.S. presidents. I don't know what the reaction was. I don't know how many people were like, that's bullshit. I don't know how many people were so indifferent about it. Like I was out at dinner with some friends, and one of them just kind of looked at her notifications like, holy shit, it looks like there was another assassination attempt. And then all of us kind of like glanced at our news feed on our phones for like, I don't know, 30 seconds or whatever. And then we just went back to eat.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? And that's not, that's just life now. It's a circus.
It was the Correspondence Gala too, because it was driving me nuts. I couldn't remember what the event was, but that was the whole deal too. Was that he had never gone to one of those, or he had skipped like the last X amount of them, and then went to this one, and this happened. So yeah, it's all bad. It's all really, really bad. And it's the same week that was it USA Today? Someone came out with that story about homes are the most unaffordable in the history of America right now, and it's just there's not a lot to be optimistic about. I did see a great, I promise we're going to get to the namesake, but a great meme of it's the ending of Inception where Leo wakes up in the plane, it says boomers realizing that 90% of their wealth is tied to something they won't be able to sell.
I had to fill up the tank yesterday, and buddy, I felt it. It's speaking of things that are bad and things that actually like shake you.
Yeah.
Oh, there was like an attempted assassination at the correspondence gala. Okay, back to my dinner. But then a few hours later, I have to fill up the tank. It's like, holy shit, that's tangible.
Yeah.
And there are people out there that are trying to tell you that that's not happening. That we're actually in the upswing.
And then we use the assassination attempt to say, this is why I need to build my solid gold ballroom.
Yeah, that is just like the bow. It's like the encore. You thought that the show was over. No. Now we're going to have like the most insane reaction to it from the President of the United States. Yeah. This is where we are as we get ready to talk about The Namesake, a very gentle movie, a movie that it's so unlike what's happening in the United States right now, at least spiritually. What is The Namesake about, Alex? Give us the synopsis.
You know, I feel a special kinship with Gogol more than with any other writer. Do you know why?
Yes, Gogol's your favorite author, I know, Baba.
Apart from that, he spent most of his adult life outside his homeland.
After moving from Calcutta to New York, members of the Gangoli family maintain a delicate balancing act between honoring the traditions of their native India and blending into American culture. So that is like a valid thing. All the things we just talked about with the current state of America and whatnot, and it is not what movies like this and previous generations believed America was, because there's numerous parts in this movie that just like go on and on about America being the land of opportunity and whatnot. And look, there's still absolutely impoverished nations where someone can come over here and make a good life for themselves and their family, and like, that's, I'm not saying that it's impossible, but now, like, I don't know why you'd want to fuck with it, why you'd want to try. It's obviously a point of privilege I come from saying that, being, obviously a white fella in America right now. And Julio, I don't know about you. Obviously, you are an immigrant, and the one out of the two of us, and someone who I'm sure during their childhood had a certain picture painted of what America was. But for me, just even being the fucking white dude I am that's lived in America his whole life and can't even relate or begin to understand the plight of the immigrant or, the minority. But even still, there's this thing of watching movies like this where people view America as a land of promise that it's upsetting and it's sad that even with all the shit and like prejudice and ridicule and unfair chances people would face coming here, it's just intensified so goddamn much. And it certainly just paints it adds an interesting tilt to these movies, watching them now.
It's very interesting in this specific case because the way that they end up in America, this family, is, it's very casual. They're not running away from anything. They don't have a specific goal. In this case, it's just the father, Irrfan Khan. He's basically, when he's young, he's shaking out of this belief that he doesn't need to travel. And so he travels, and then he ends up in America.
Well, he had a near-death experience that...
Well, yeah. But the near-death experience didn't mean, well, now you go to the United States.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. You're right.
It just means, well, now you travel, right? You're alive, so you need to make the most out of your life. And somehow that ends up being him going to New York, moving to New York, I'm assuming after traveling somewhere else. And then because he's living in New York, then the woman that he marries has to move to New York with him. And then that means that his children are born in New York, his children in America. But they're not, it's not like they were running away from India necessarily. And in fact, a lot of the feelings that you get through the movie are, at least from the first generation, right, from the parents, they seem to really love their roots, appreciate the roots, and they go back to India. And if anything, like the kids, because they were born here, they have more trouble kind of embracing their Indian heritage, the Indian culture at first. And so it's a different kind of conflict. It's not that, oh, we're refugees and we need to make it to America, so it doesn't matter if America doesn't really treat us that well. It's still better than what we're leaving behind. In this case, there's a lot of love and at least their position in India doesn't seem to be one that it's that they need to upgrade from necessarily, so to speak.
Yeah. We've watched some movies in this journey too that show like the idea of monetarily it's more advantageous to come to America or something like that. And it's never painted that way. It's just kind of like, hey, we're going to go here and try this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's some changes in their lifestyle that they seem to welcome. I think the dad says at some point when he's showing his new wife around the apartment in New York, he's like, "Yeah, there's always hot water. We have gas 24/7." So yeah, there's cosmetic upgrades in a way, to the way that they live. But through the entire movie, she misses her home country, and
Mhm.
you can tell. And that's just something that you don't see in some of the other scenarios where people are just coming here because that's the alternative is it's death or starvation or just living in a really bad environment. So it's a gentler story, I guess, is because the stakes are different. There's no like life or death, and there's no like major crisis. It's just like, oh well, this family kind of it's specifically the Kal Penn character, the son, just trying to figure out in a way how American is he, how Indian is he, how does he make it work,
Yeah.
what's the right balance. And so it doesn't surprise me that it's a book. It definitely, especially towards the end, it feels a lot more like a book.
Yeah.
Yeah. but I appreciate what it's saying, and I felt that it was a nice new point of view. When you look at all the movies about immigrants that we've done so far, this was a different one. Now this is about the kid that he was born here, but he still has the way of the immigrant. So I think a little bit of like In the Heights, right? You have like those second generation immigrants and their struggles, but this is not about like songs or bombastic stuff. This is just like a dude that's trying to trying to date a white girl, then trying to date an Indian girl. Turns out that it doesn't work out with either of them.
Mhm. When they go to India and his mom's riding the rickshaw, and she's like,
Yeah.
"I was going because it's exploitative," and like I forget the other word he uses, but
Feudal.
Why don't you get in, my American Sahib? Sonia can sit with my lap. Come on.
No, because being told by another human being is futile and exploitative, and I don't want to be part of something like that because
feudal. That's it. Yeah, it's feudal and exploitative, and I don't want to support it. And so he's just kind of like jogging next to the guy. Yeah.
So, as a general idea, I liked it. It started losing me, I would say, in the last third, maybe the third act.
Big time, which really it bummed me out because like there were moments of this where I was like, all right, this is bordering on very good, potentially great. And then, yeah, not to cut you off or steal your train of thought, but yeah, by the third act, it bummed me out how much it lost me.
We'll get to the third act. I think that if anything, we should talk about the first act first, which was the big surprise because Kal Penn is first billed. He's in the poster. I think this was sold as a Kal Penn movie. And then it's 30 minutes before we get to Kal Penn because the first 30 minutes is the love story between his parents. He's not even born. This is just how Tabu and Irrfan Khan meet, and then how they get married, and then they move to America, and then they have a kid, and then they have another kid.
What do you think the rationale behind this is? Harold and Kumar was like a huge hit, but I think it did a lot more on like home video, and it's become famous since then because it's not like it made $100 million at the box office. It did well, but it didn't do that. But then if you look, I'm like looking at his credits here, and he's in fucking Malibu's Most Wanted and Homeland Security.
Van Wilder, right? Wasn't he
Van Wilder,
Wilder's buddy?
that was before Harold and Kumar, but yeah. And then like you're seeing, oh, that's right, he was in Superman Returns. But he had his own fucking Van Wilder movie the same year as The Namesake, The Rise of Taj.
Playing for both audiences.
Yeah, and the year before he was in The Son of Mask and a lot like Love. He wasn't he Ashton Kutcher's best friend in that movie, the romantic comedy? But like, I think I'm answering my own question here. This is definitely his attempt at being taken seriously.
Yes.
Yeah.
I when I think of Kal Penn in that time, because now I think of him as Kal Penn. No, actually, I just think like, where did he go? But back then, he was a comedic actor. That's what I thought of. He was Because he was also in, was it How I Met Your Mother? I think he had like a few episodes there. I
Yeah,
want to say he
good
also
call.
had like a stint on Big Bang Theory. I think the first time I heard of him being a serious actor was when he was in House, which might have been before those two shows, but his character, minor spoiler for people that haven't gotten to this part of House, but I remember the news. I never watch House religiously, but his character was introduced one season. Maybe if it's not the same season, the next season, they killed him off. And they never explained what happened. He just commits suicide, and the entire
Yeah.
episode is House, the doctor, trying to figure out what happened. And it's one of those where, oh well, the answer is that we'll never know, because sometimes that's just what happens. And I thought that was pretty ingenious, but it also made me think, why would you do that to somebody that's kind of a big name at this time? I wonder if it was around the time that he left to go, do politics. Maybe that's what happened. But yeah, he's a comedic actor in my mind, and I used to work at Barnes and Noble, and so I remember when this movie came out, The Namesake, they did that thing where they reissued the book with the new cover, which was now the poster of the movie. And so I remember walking past it on the shelves and thinking, that's the guy from Harold and Kumar, and this book doesn't look like a funny book. It was just like in the drama section. So it felt unusual. And I've always, that's the main thing that I've always remembered. What I knew about The Namesake was just that it was based on a book, and it was a book that had Kumar from Harold Kumar on the cover. And I always wondered if it was something that worked out for him or not. I mean, I know he obviously went on to have a career, and he went on to prove his dramatic chops in other projects. But in this one, where the poster was telling me that he carries the movie, and I guess he kind of does. But I mean, that's a big question, Alex. Do you think that this movie, would you call it a Kal Penn vehicle, or do you think that it's more of an ensemble? Because for long stretches of the movie, I felt that it was as much the story of the parents as it was his.
Well, in the end, it's the story of fucking Tabu. It's the story of the mom.
I guess so, yeah.
That was the whole thing. I mean, I paused the movie because I realized how far it was, and there was 11 minutes left, and I go, how the fuck is this going to end? Like, that was, whereas that, I was like, whose story are we wrapping up here? So, yeah, I would definitely say it's an ensemble cast. Irrfan Khan is so good, and his exit is so unceremonious that, like, I mean, by design, that it kind of, you forget about him pretty quickly. But no, I don't think this is a Kal Penn vehicle. I think Kal Penn, I don't know, he seems like a nice guy, so I'm not meaning to speak for him. He gets the Oscar scene, definitely, in this movie.
Which would be that, when he breaks down on his dad's
When
bed?
he goes, just that whole sequence of when he goes to his dad's apartment and sees it empty with his shoes still there, and then he ends up breaking down. But this is, I think he took it as a chance. What I can say for it is the movie's not built around him, so his performance, while good, isn't the thing the movie hinges on. I would definitely say this is more of like an ensemble effort than just a one man show.
I wonder if part of it, because I felt like that too, and I kept trying to refocus and basically tell myself, no, it has to be the story of him, because that kind of shapes your expectations of where the movie is going to go.
It does, and it's why for me the movie kind of fell apart in the third act. But it's now we know with the little memento there in the credits, it's just a movie that's supposed to be like a fucking love letter to parents.
Yeah. But I mean, we see that at the very end.
Yeah. Would have helped if it started that way.
Like, okay, do you want me to watch the movie again now?
Because I get really, really interested in this idea of Kal Penn marrying this girl because of some like familial void he has, and bringing himself closer, like his culture and whatnot, and then really regretting the decision he made. And then the movie's over. I'm like, oh, I wasn't supposed to care about that.
I have a lot of problems with that last stretch, but before then, I guess going back to those first 30 minutes, I thought it was a really sweet story, and they're really good actors, both Tabu and Irrfan Khan.
Oh, definitely.
Because they don't really get a lot of, yes, it's 30 minutes, but a lot of those 30 minutes is just very kind of quiet scenes of them either learning what each other's like. In arranged marriage, I mean, that is just so foreign, I guess appropriately, to culture like ours, that it really, the movie has to really sell you that connection, because in
To
a
be
way,
fair,
when you
not
look at
just
it,
ours, but me as a fucking white American and you also as a Peruvian, like it's just a foreign concept. Like,
yeah, but that's what I mean. Like ours isn't like yours and mine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's not something that, if there were arranged marriages in Peru, I mean, that was not something that I was ever even close to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, there are people that get married for money, much like that happens too here in the States. But over there, where it's just like
Don't
there is
say.
this actual, this actual ceremony, and it's just you bring a man and a woman that are just meeting there for the first time, and then you kind of roll the dice, and then that's it. And then in this case, it's even wilder, because they get married and then they go over to a completely different country, so they don't even have their families around to like help them, with the transition into marriage. So the fact that you can still buy the connection between these two people, just most of the time, just because of the way they look at each other and just the way that they react to each other a little bit. They have like one argument, and
এগুলি তো সব shrink করে গেছে। I mean, who asked you to wash my clothes? আমি ফের অবধি ওয়েট করতে কি হচ্ছিল? এখানে $1 হচ্ছে $8। We don't have so much money to buy. Where are you going? Hello?
once Kal Penn comes in, and I said, oh, okay, so that was a prologue, and now this is going to be the story, right? Because Kal Penn was in the poster. Then maybe for the next 20 minutes or so, I don't know, however long it takes for our buddy Irrfan Khan to exit the movie. But then my gear shifted to, oh no, who's going to die? Did that happen to you? Did you start feeling like, oh, they spent 30 minutes making a scare because one of them is going to be gone so that the movie can start?
Yeah, I suppose. I didn't expect, like, I knew something was, because so what I expected when Irrfan Khan called was that he's like, oh, no, everything's fine. I thought he was going to, like, get bad news. Like, that something's wrong. I didn't expect that he was just going to, like, straight up die. So, yeah, that was surprising.
That I also thought that he had called to give her the bad news, and then he changed his mind and decided to downplay it. But no, apparently it was a heart attack, which terrifying. He's supposed to be, man, the timeline in this movie messes with my mind. At the end of the movie, Tabu says that she's been missing her country, her home country, for 25 years. So you're telling me that Kal Penn is 25 at the end of the movie?
Yeah, he graduates high school in 95, and then the movie ends up like in contemporaneous time, which is 2005, 2006.
Okay, so it's 15 and 95.
Yeah.
I thought that he was older by the end of the movie, because I guess that's the problem with the third act, just jumping forward so much that I couldn't really tell how much time that he's been dating the woman that eventually becomes his wife. But also, I understand she's a widow now, so she's gone through a lot. But Tabu, she starts looking older. I thought that she was in her 60s, and not because she looks like super old, but I guess she just looks so sad.
She went through a lot, man.
I know. But in my mind, it made sense that the story was taking decades for these people to go through all this stuff. But I guess it's more compact. So that means that he is, what, 16, 17 when his father dies?
No. He's,
I guess we don't know how long he's been in New York.
But yeah, at least in college or no, he's probably no, he's either in college or has graduated at that point. So 22, 23, 24, somewhere in that range.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I could have used like a little thing, that told me how long it happened. I know that they do their best to change Kal Penn's appearance, and also, I mean, Riz, what do you think of the old makeup for Irrfan Khan and Tabu?
It's not fucking Guy Pearce and Prometheus. I'll give it that. But yeah, me just being a fucking lecherous man as I am, I'm just like, quit trying to make Tabu not hot. She's clearly hot.
She can be hot, but she can also be beaten by life. And I think that it's even before the tragedy, because she is. This is what it is, Alex. When we meet her, I think after one of the time jumps, she's driving, and she's driving like such an old person.
Oh, that scene's really funny. Quit talking to me. I'm going to get in an accident.
because she's leaning forward and she's going really slow, and so I think that was my assumption, was that they were older than they actually were.
Yeah.
Uh,
But no, that scene could be at any point in time because, she's never driven before in her home country and she's trying to drive a car. That's the whole thing. Whenever I see scenes like that, they make me laugh because I think about the idea of like, man, can you imagine never driving until you're like in your fucking 30s and how much it would scare you? So when you're 16, you're like, yeah, I don't fucking care. But, so I found that scene particularly charming.
I think it's just a combination of the way she was driving and then the makeup that they did to age her and Irrfan Khan, and she was just moving more slowly. She was speaking more slowly. She just seemed so fragile. It was just, I don't know. It tricked me into thinking they were older. But now, answer me this. This I couldn't figure out. Why does she not go with Irrfan Khan to Ohio?
I was trying to figure that out. I thought I missed something, so I had to go back and retrace my steps. And yeah, I didn't understand that at all.
He asks her even right before he leaves, and I thought that was the movie setting it up. So then later we would find out. She would say, "Okay, well I should have gone, but I didn't go because of whatever." But instead, what she says is, "Oh, now I know why your dad went to Ohio. It's because he wanted me to learn to live by myself." I'm like,
well, and trying to be polite too. I think she already came over and completely like fucking uplifted her life, and she got accustomed to this new place, and he was only going to be there for X amount of time and whatnot. So maybe she just didn't want to deal with the hassle of it. And also that house is fucking awesome. Every shot of that house, I was like, God damn, dude. Like that's
the American dream.
Well, yeah. It's like this country used to build houses like that, man.
And people could afford them.
Yeah, no shit. They didn't cost $750,000. That's right.
Yeah, I love it when they're just moving in and he's explaining to his buddies, Irrfan Khan is explaining to them that, yeah, these are the suburbs, and my boss, he wears like a dollar tie.
Yeah.
Just, this is America. I remember having those sort of moments when I first moved to the United States. The little things that make like a huge difference. I don't know if I ever told you, but I had heard of trash disposals like in the sink, but I'd never seen one.
Mm-hmm.
And so my first apartment when I moved to the States, obviously had one. And I was just like, this is amazing technology. I was just fascinated by the trash disposal thing in the sink. And it's not the kind of thing that turns your life upside down or whatever, but it's just little things that are different that you just didn't have back home. So I totally get like the giddiness that they show every time that we see Irrfan Khan or Tabu looking at this new world that they're making into a home. It's I found that very relatable. I think that's the other aspect of the movie. I think that I related very hard, or I found them very likable, and they're just the idea of them moving in and their journey as immigrants, I found a lot more captivating than Kal Penn being a brat and ignoring his parents. And I understand that was, he was young and he was trying to find his way, but I just wanted him to be nicer to his family, and instead he's out there gallivanting with Jacinda Barrett and her family. How do you feel about that second act of the movie? Basically, once we just get to Kal Penn, and you're like, here he is, and he's not playing. He smoked some weed, but he's playing a serious character, and he doesn't like his name. He wants to change his name. He eventually changes his name. He's dating a blonde girl. I don't know. What do you make of Kal Penn in the middle of the movie?
There's some things you should know. No kissing, no holding hands. My parents are not Lydia and Gerald. I've never seen them touch, let alone anything else.
A little depressing.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, like, because I thought until the third act that it was his movie. Like, I thought, because we start with them getting together and then they have their son and he's the firstborn in America, and then they have the daughter, and then we follow him. Like, we don't see anything the daughter does at all.
Yeah.
Like, and so like I just assumed we were supposed to follow his whole journey, and obviously that does not come to pass. What was her name? Glenn Headley?
The mom of his girlfriend?
You have Maxine. Yeah. Yes. Famously from Eulogy. A not great movie that I really enjoy. But anyway, yeah, I don't know what to make of it. Jacinda Barrett, who plays Maxine. Am I supposed to know her from anything?
From the 90s. If you
Okay.
look through her filmography, there's movies that you've seen, because that's my experience. But I knew that she had a familiar face, and I just couldn't figure out where I knew her from. And then I saw the movies in her filmography. And I was like, okay, I guess, from any number of these. I don't think she's working anymore, but I think in the 90s she was kind of she was out there
Yeah,
dating Kal Penn.
there you go. But yeah, I guess I kind of got into it and was interested with it, and like the whole idea of him not denouncing his heritage or anything like that, but getting himself accustomed to the American lifestyle. And then when his dad passed, the whole thing, I had to look it up actually, because I didn't understand the significance of an Indian man shaving his head bald. It's based on what I found, this could be completely inaccurate, but one of the things I read, it could be in times of grief to show mourning.
I ended up assuming that was the case. I thought that maybe we'd missed a scene because he kind of has a flashback to his dad doing it.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, am I supposed to know what's happening in this flashback? Is it supposed to be referencing something, or am I going to see the full scene later? But that wasn't the case. So then I just figured, I'm glad you looked it up, because I was going to, then I forgot.
Yeah, so there were some things that were really interesting about it, but then it everything just started like skipping real fast with him, and then that's where I became aware. I was like, oh, this isn't his movie, despite the fact that like one of the last scenes of the movie is a flashback. I'll tell you what I did not like, and it wasn't, or I guess it was exclusive to his character. The moments of strife or internal conflict, the movie would put a filter over what was
What was
happening.
that?
I was like, what?
Like when he goes to identify the body
Yeah,
of
I
his
thought like
father?
the lighting was really shit. I was like, wait, what's going on? And then they did it a few more times throughout the movie. So not a fan of that. There were like moments of this that I was really fascinated in what the movie could have told, or, the story of Kal Penn and whatnot. But in the end, I realized that wasn't its intention or its interest at all. So he's good. It's just that I guess the what I would say, this movie doesn't feel focused after it, like
Yeah.
when it's over. You're like, okay, what what was I supposed to take away from that? Despite its really good performances and some really interesting parts of storytelling throughout.
I think that's the thing, that because you would think that in that second act, once Kal Penn seems to take the role of the protagonist, his father dies, and then we think that now the movie is going to be entirely about him, but it's still not. But he goes places, and then those stories, then they don't stick. Every time that I don't know how many times this happened, but it feels, now that I finished the movie, it feels like this happens a lot, where the movie will say, okay, well, now we're going to do this, right? And so my expectation is, okay, so the next 10, 15, 20 minutes of the movie is going to be about how we do this. But instead, the next scene, it's already done.
Yeah.
And then we move on to the next thing. So his dad dies, he shaves his head, they have the funeral, which maybe my favorite part of the movie is every time that they would bring up the traditions from India, either bring them to the States or they were going back to India, and we saw how the traditions were there, what was the cultural differences. But in this case, they have the funeral, and then there's like a cut, and now his hair has grown back.
Yes.
I was like, wait, what happened? Wasn't he grieving? And I get it, you kind of have to write the Jacinda Barrett character out, which I thought she was really annoying. Like, it's not her fault as an actress. I thought that it was written to show that she didn't really care, I guess.
Yeah.
That it was kind of a novelty. It was just so tone deaf when she says, I really want to go with you to India to like spread the ashes. And even though she says that she wants to do it because she feels that she's part of the family, to me, it read like she wanted to do it because, it's an opportunity to travel to India and do some tourism. It was really,
the modern
really bad.
equivalent of that would be someone who wants to go just to the influencer that wants to post their pictures and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah. Taking selfies while Kal Penn is grieving his father in the river. So little things like that start like happening a lot, and it really, I think, increases exponentially once he starts dating this other girl. So and this is my biggest laugh of the movie, when they're having breakfast. I think it's like him, his mom, and his sister. They're around the table, And the mom starts telling him that he needs to move on. And she starts telling this story of what happened to this childhood friend of his, and ends up by saying, so she's living in New York now, and I told her that you would call her.
Yeah.
And Kal Penn's reaction is like, what? That made me laugh. But then that relationship that he ends up having with this childhood friend, it's like they're going on fast forward, man. They go on a date, then they have sex, and then they're getting married. I thought, oh, is it the end of the movie? Was it the end of it? Now, you said that you like the idea that it turns out that was not the answer to his problems, and I agree. Because when they got married, I started, even before that, when they started dating, my fear was that the movie was telling you it was always a bad idea for him to date outside his culture.
Exactly, yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't know about that.
But like the whole setup for it was to bring it back to white people, Julio, because we don't have enough things. But it was not it made me laugh because it reminded me of the Lucy Pigface Draper from Dan in Real Life, where it's the ugly girl from like when they were growing up, and then she shows up for the date with Steve Carell. It's fucking Emily Blunt. Do you remember that?
You've told me about it because I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. No, that's I thought that was something we'd laughed about before, but yeah. So I thought the idea was funny that because they're real mean about like the girl they use when she's a teenager. She has like a mustache and stuff. Like and she's really pretentious and
Yeah.
So yeah, it sets it up, and then it cuts to her in like fishnets that she's wearing under her skirt. And it's like, okay,
He can't stop staring at her exposed neck and her cleavage.
yeah. But like to your point, that's also where I immediately thought it's like, okay, this movie's saying that he should have stayed within his own culture, and where he messed up was by trying to venture outside. But it's not that. It
Nope.
shows that he's trying to like plug this gap, or perceived gap, emotionally, mentally, what have you, and then it blows up. It doesn't blow up in his face, but it just doesn't turn out the way he thought it's not fulfilling the way he thought it would be fulfilling. But then it doesn't go any, it doesn't explore that anymore, and then the movie's over. Like it's just it starts with like a really interesting idea, and then I don't feel like it really fleshes it out. But then in the end, we learned that it's not supposed to, because the movie's supposed to be about the parents. So I don't know what to take from that. I don't know what my takeaway is supposed to be.
What I told you about my name was personal.
Nobody cares.
It's not just some joke or conversation piece, okay? And for you to bring it up in front of these people.
These people happen to be my friends.
I still think that you could have. The thing is, I don't want this movie to be over 2 hours, but I also don't want this feeling that I got in the last stretch where it just felt like things were happening and I had no investment in them.
It's insane, right? It's a 2-hour movie, but it feels like things are rushed.
Yeah, because it's literally like they go on a date, then the next time that they see each other, they have sex, then they get married, and then they have the scene where they have their big fight because she embarrasses him in front of her friends. And then literally the next scene is basically the reveal that she's cheating on him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this was a whole movie. This could have been the Namesake too. Like what happens after he gets his happy ending with an Indian girl. So I didn't have time to settle. And it's so weird because the movie takes its time at the beginning, and that's part of its appeal. I felt that it was just being very luxurious in the way that it was just telling its story and letting you enjoy the characters. And then it just gets into high gear at the end, and it doesn't really have like an actual endpoint anyway, because
there's no conclusion.
Yeah, his big revelation, I guess, he has that conversation with his mom where he just says, well, don't feel bad for me because for the first time I feel free. And so if his whole journey was about learning that like he had to go through those 2 bad relationships and the death of his father to somehow finally feel comfortable in his own skin, like I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
It's really annoying because I thought that the final flashback he has where he remembers his dad and him walking out there to the beach.
That seems awesome.
it's lovely because, you get to see more than you saw the first time. And he's like, oh, we didn't bring a camera, so you're going to have to remember this. I was like, man, this scene is making me feel so much. I wish that everything leading up to it was better. And I don't know. I guess I just can't really get attached to the Kal Penn character in a way that makes that payoff better. I get choked up because I really like the Irrfan Khan character, and it's really good to see him have that moment with his son and his son appreciating it, I guess. But as far as, I guess we're supposed to assume that he's just going to travel the world now, Kal Penn, because he's free.
Yeah, and you know how like weird I am about this, the fact that like there had not been a voiceover the entire movie, and then it's Kal Penn reading the book. I was like, okay. I understand that's really like minute and minuscule, but that's that's how I am.
I know that there's like some important themes going through the movie that I probably would appreciate more. I mean, I noticed them and I was kind of like clocking them, but not really getting super invested in them. But because the title of the movie is a namesake, and there's this entire running thing about what he's called and how the idea of him having two names because of tradition, in Indian tradition, and how he ends up with a name that he liked as a kid, but he doesn't like it once he's an adult, and so he changes it. But then eventually he learns to appreciate his original name. I mean, that whole thing. I mean, it's just, you could almost say that it's a little too on the nose for the idea of, oh, well, this man is going to be wrestling with his identity.
Yeah.
Is he Indian? Is he American? Is he both? And what does it mean to be both? Every time that the movie went there, like, I thought that it was really cool, but I don't know that it went there in a satisfying way when it came to the story, to the plot. It just went there in vignettes, and it had nothing to do really with the story, but just seeing him and his sister in Calcutta dealing with the fact that there's no AC, and him trying to like jog, and then them sending like one of their, I'm assuming it was a servant, right? Because they had like the people that were working for them, and then they sent this dude to jog with him. He wasn't family.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
keep an eye on him.
Yeah. Like that whole thing. I mean, that's plot wise, that doesn't do anything for the movie, but it just adds so much color and so much. That's what really gave me insight into the characters. So that stuff works, and then the story itself, I felt that didn't quite work. I wanted to call out the somebody from his family is visiting them. He just graduated because he comes back home after smoking with his friends, so he's high, and then his aunt or cousin or whatever is like, oh, why are your eyes red? And then she asks the mom for a chili.
Yeah.
And then she starts like
the evil eyes.
Yeah, the evil eye. So my mom's side of the family does that, but they do it with eggs. Have you ever heard of that?
No, like around your head?
Around their whole body. So
oh, wow.
They just kind of like grab the egg, and I mean, they do it with little kids. So that the way that the pseudoscience goes, RFK Jr. would be like all over this. So you just, yeah. He would choke like with excitement. Little kids, like if they get too much attention, they just get overwhelmed by the attention, because everybody's watching them and thinking they're cute, so they get overwhelmed and they get sick, they get headaches or whatever. And so the egg, they call it passing the egg. You just kind of like grab an egg, and you don't touch the kid with the egg. You just kind of make the egg hover over their body, kind of like what the lady here was doing with the chili over Kal Penn, but she was doing it over his head. Like when I've seen like my aunt do it, and my grandma used to do it, it would be like the whole body. And then at the end, when they're done, they break the egg and pour the contents like on a cup or something, and then whatever it looks like gives you an idea of how bad it was. And then maybe you need to do another one. Maybe you need to grab another egg. I know. It's fascinating. Like I've seen it as recently as when I went back home last year for New Year's. My cousin's kid, she's like 3, maybe 4. So she's little, and yeah, everybody is like paying her attention. So of course, she started crying, and then they did the thing. They went through like 3 eggs, I think, and then she was fine. I'm like, okay, is it the egg? Is it just that we all believe it, therefore she believes it? And I don't know, but whatever it is, it's even if it's just like a placebo egg that's doing this, it has some sort of effect. So all this to say that when I saw that they were doing it but with a chili, I'm like, oh, look, there's a connection between India and Peru.
Oh, Mira, I promise you there are no evil eyes in the United States of America.
That is what you think.
But anyway, I guess what it boils down to, Alex, is I really enjoyed the cultural aspects of it, like the depiction of the different cultures coming together, coming apart. I was let down by the story. And then when it got to the end, I just, like, I wasn't mad, but I was just wishing that the movie was better because the elements were there. And maybe this hits a lot harder if you have ties to India, because then maybe everything is a little more powerful. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah, if you have ties, that's going to make you closer to it. But I agree. I like I said, there were moments of this was like, wow, like I really felt myself. And what I always say is like a really positive endorsement movie too, is I watched this in one sitting and found myself, it's one of those things in my head. I was like, okay, I'm going to pause it in 10 minutes and then, go get a soda or something like that. And then I would just keep watching it to see like what would happen. So, for me, that's a positive endorsement. And, yeah, I think if you have any sort of sentimental attachment or just cultural attachment to it, it's going to go a lot further for you. For me, I was just kind of disappointed with how it played out in the third act because I felt like I was getting attached to the story in a way that didn't pan out. And then it turned out in the end, it wasn't really supposed to. So I guess that's more on me, but I felt like the movie kind of set me up for something that it didn't come. So it's still a good movie and one I'd recommend. It's just, I felt like its execution kept it good and kind of outside of great, if that makes sense.
Before we move on to a very fascinating piece of trivia that I found, Alex, do you have any box office information? Like, did this do well, or is this something that maybe people could have read as, oh, Kal Penn doesn't have what it takes to carry a dramatic movie?
So the budget was $9.5 million and the box office was a little shy of 21 million, which I know box office wise, I think that is less than Harold and Kumar. So Kal Penn probably saw that and he goes, "You got to be fucking kidding me. This is what I'm going to be doing now, huh?"
You remember the third Harold and Kumar was in 3D?
I do. Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay, by the way, is not as good as the first Harold and Kumar, but it is very funny. Any chance? Okay, Rob Corddry's fucking hilarious in that movie, dude. Any chance I get to put over Rob Corddry in that movie, and Andy, what's his name? Ed Helms is really funny in that too. So
is it a well-known actor that plays Bush in his cameo?
No. Okay, wait. Now you're making me remember some of the movie. Rob Corddry's really funny.
I remember the third one, liking the third one. So they kind of went out in an upswing.
I remember the trailer for it was incredible because it was them on the plane trying to smoke and like it was cutting to like the racial imaginations of like the passengers, like the old people, like seeing them walk by. Yeah. So
America, always racist.
Yeah.
Nothing changes. Quick run through the critics' reviews. I just wanted to point out that Roger Ebert liked it.
Good man.
Yeah, 3.5 out of 4. He says what holds it together are the subtle, loving performances by Tabu and Khan, both Bollywood stars. They never overplay, never spell out what can be said in a glance or a shrug, communicate great passion very quietly. I agree, Roger. And then this one I liked because it really, it was very evocative. Jonathan F. Richards from Film.com says, it is a saga told in small pieces, a patchwork of short scenes that tumble after each other almost apologetically, as if they would love to linger a little longer, but there is too much to tell and only so much time in which to do it. Oh, Jonathan. I imagine the book takes its sweet time with the third act of the movie, and maybe you get a little more involved. Okay, but here we go, Alex. My last, this is where I stop my research, so to speak. First of all, Mira Nair, I didn't know anything about her as a filmmaker. Did you?
No. Yeah, I guess we didn't even run down that. Directed by Mira Nair, screenplay by Suni Tara portrayal, and this is based on the Namesake, a novel by Jhumpa Lahiri.
There you go. Mira Nair has made movies that I've heard of. I remember Vanity Fair was kind of a big deal with Reese Witherspoon. Do you remember when that came out?
Vaguely.
Yeah. A Reese Witherspoon period piece. And I've heard of Monsoon Wedding. I've heard of Salam Bombay. I've heard of Mississippi Masala. I want to say that's the one with Denzel. Yep, that's him on the poster. But anyway, what I did not know was this bit of trivia. According to Kal Penn, during an interview on The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson, Mira Nair's then teenage son and his good friend, who were fans of Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, were adamant that she cast him as Gogol. In 2025, Mira Nair's son, Zoran Mamdani, was elected mayor of New York City.
What?
In 2026, Kal Penn appeared on Kelly Clarkson's talk show and retold the story, this time showing a photo of himself with the then 14-year-old Mamdani and saying, that gave me the opportunity to then audition and earn the part, and so we've been friends since then. So I am the most biased person you could ask. It's unfair to ask me a political question about him just because of how we met. But I'm really proud of him, and I think we all wish him the best. It's crazy, too, to know someone that age, and then all of a sudden they're the mayor of New York City.
Holy shit.
So Mamdani's mom made this movie and many others. Once I read that, I'm like, well, not that I needed like backstory that explained Mamdani's talent for being in front of the camera. I'm sure you've seen his videos. I was like, most politicians...
Unbelievable smile on that kid.
Yes, and the way that he just communicates is just so good. And at least some of it has to be
He was
that
on Action Bronson's show, his web series recently. It was really good.
Like acting? Or what's he?
No. Action Bronson does like... do you know who Action Bronson is?
I thought he was a movie critic, but no, I guess I'm not.
No, Action Bronson's a rapper and chef and... I guess you don't say a food critic, but he goes around to different restaurants and just samples their food and whatnot. And they in New York somewhere. It was clear it wasn't at all like the usual action setup where he just kind of goes in. It was like clearly shut down, and they had to bring in Maldani and shit. But yeah. He also makes people I don't like very uncomfortable, and so that makes me like, do your shit, man.
Well, I think that you can tell, maybe, it just clicks that, he grew up with a mother that made movies and made...
That's fair. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Made good movies, so of course that informs how he communicates visually. So it's great, and now that's going to be something that I will forever associate with the Namesake. Oh, directed by Mamdani's mom.
There you go.
And Mira Nair would be like, Zoran Mamdani is Mira Nair's son. That's the mayor of New York and Mira Nair's son.
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, words for you. Turn the volume up.
But anyway, Alex, it's time to put a number on this, or a letter, I guess, in your case. What do you give? How do you rate The Namesake?
C plus, B minus, somewhere in that territory. There's moments in this movie, like I said, that really I felt like it was approaching like very good to great. And that's all. The acting is on point, and with the exception of the filters thing, which I found odd, it looks good. But for me personally, it kind of all falls apart towards the end, despite having a happy ending and one that I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, probably like a C plus, 3.5 stars, somewhere in that territory. What about you?
The last 20 minutes or so, the entire time that he was married, that Kal Penn was married, this was teetering between 3 and 2.5 stars, because I was like, what's happening? This is so disappointing. But I gotta tell you, that last flashback with the dad, and then the speech that the mom, that Tabu, gives as she's giving, saying her farewell to the house.
Yeah.
It was very stirring, and it was very, just the way that she connected her love for both things. She acknowledged that she had never stopped missing India, but she also pay tribute to the things that she found in the United States and the good things that came from it, and how she is okay with going back and forth. And I actually think it's pretty cool that the movie ends with her singing, which is something that she was wondering if she was going to be able to do again. And then she does. We open with her singing, and then she's singing.
Yeah.
It's very uplifting. So I'm going to land on 3.5, actually. Those last like 2 minutes, 3 minutes really kicked it up at the end. So I would recommend it. I would say if anybody has read the book, my guess is that you're going to watch this movie and feel like they cut a lot out, because that's what it feels like not having read the book. I think that a lot of our pacing issues is probably because there's stuff that it's expanded on in the original story and they just had to take it out here. But it's still, I would recommend it. And I think it's a nice addition to our little roster of movies about immigrants. So watch The Namesake if you haven't already. And then tell us what you thought. Coming up next, Alex, you have a decision to make, my friend.
Uh-oh.
At least as far as FIRF goes. I mean, coming up next on the main feed, it's going to be the next installment of B2B, which is going to be The Running Man. But as far as FIRF goes, I'm going to give you a choice. This is going to be a fascist movie. We can do a movie from a filmmaker that's hit or miss with you. The controversial Taika Waititi did a movie called Jojo Rabbit that was a bit of an awards darling a few years ago. Or there's a movie I haven't seen called The Last King of Scotland. Remember hearing about that when it came out a while back?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I know it's James McAvoy and what's the name of the guy from Vantage Point?
Forrest Whitaker?
Forrest Whitaker.
Was it really?
Yes.
I just guessed one person from that movie.
Yes. I don't know who is the last king of Scotland, if McAvoy or Forrest Whitaker. Whichever movie you pick, it doesn't matter. The other one will get done eventually. I just went I grabbed 2 from the list. What do you want to watch for the next FIRF?
I feel like I need to watch Jojo Rabbit because I remember how many people were talking about that. And I also, based on the subject matter, it sounds really heavy, but also I've been very mean to Taika Waititi on the main feed because I watched Hunt for the Wilder People, I believe, for QVR, which I love that movie. So yeah, let's bring him back into the fold and see what it's all about.
All right, so the next Fresh Immigrants Rotten Fascists is going to be Jojo Rabbit. You heard it here first, and you can thank Alex for that. That's it for this installment. As usual, thank you to Corey and Zoe for all the behind-the-scenes work. Thanks to Jordan Cooper for our intro and our outro. Check out his work on his They Might Be Giants podcast, Don't Let's Start. You can also check his band on Bandcamp. It's called Troubles Afoot. Check out his website. If you need music, Jordan Cooper's your guy. Alex, let's get out of here.
Let's do.